Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Tex-Mex podcast. I'm your host, Eric Ramirez, and I've got my awesome co-host here, Mando Gomez.
Shalom. Shalom.
Hey, here we are with episode 30, number 30. You know what? We got lots to talk about, so let's get into it. Dale.
Dale. All right. What we got, man?
Oh, man. So I don't know if y'all noticed, but we missed an episode last week. I got COVID, man.
Yeah, man. I'm sorry, but you know what is the tough part? Is that almost every year, right? Getting the freaking goodies.
Yeah, you got the cooties, man.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know how that will affect our health, right? Until if we are getting like a very constant, because it's creating scar tissue and inflammation and all of that. So, tough.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
so true. Well,
I
so
hope that you're
like,
feeling better.
I'm doing better. Like the first time it was like what a couple of years ago. You know, I got it with one of the first rounds, and that one I would tell you, like when I got it, I was not super sick or anything, and in fact, I got over it maybe in like a few days, 2-3 days. But I had this lingering cough that lasted like for a whole year.
You
Like
got the
I
long COVID,
couldn't get
right?
rid of it. I think it was long COVID. I don't know that there's like a real definition to it. But eventually I got over it, but it led to a whole bunch of other stuff. Like I got shingles, which is
Oh,
like,
wow.
usually you got to be
You
60,
just are old,
70 year
man.
olds to get that. Yeah, I don't know. But that's what it causes your body. It ages it. It causes inflammation, all of that stuff. So it just weakened my body a lot. And I eventually got rid of the cough after a year. I saw some lung specialists, and fortunately, like all my lung turned out to be good. But they put me like on a CPAP to help because the inflammation was closing up my my breathing, airway, and all that stuff. So all of that now, I'm good again, and now bam, we get it again. I mean, of course, we had a lot going on in January. We had a funeral that we were a part of, and saw a lot of family and a lot of people. And throughout all of that, somehow we ended up getting getting COVID, right? So it went through the family. We all got
Yeah.
it. Yeah, and so
I
it was
also
tough.
think that as because now we are more protective of our health, and it's like stay away, like almost with your 6 feet stick, right?
Exactly. Social distancing, right?
Social distancing.
Social distancing.
I really think that maybe our immune systems now they are weaker, in my opinion, because before you just were like dealing with everyone, and yeah, maybe you'll get the flu or whatever, just a regular flu. But yeah, I think that maybe all of this social distancing might affect as well our capacity to have a weaker immune system. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, there's something to it, right? They say with the kids, right? Let them roll around in the dirt, so they get all the cooties early on, and they build up that strong immune system. So maybe it's the same thing with us with the social distancing. We don't
dude, I
have
have a
that
bunch of
opportunity to
Russian
build it up.
friends.
Uh-huh.
I have a bunch of Russian friends, and they're tough. They are tough, man. It's like in Russia, we just put our kids in the ice. So I mean, I believe it or not, maybe it's just putting your immune system to certain conditions might help to strengthen it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I prefer just to get my gummy bears with vitamin C and
There you go.
and zinc instead of putting myself in the ice. But we'll see.
Well, so this time around, since I had such a hard time last time, this time around, like I wasn't the first one to get it this time, so I knew it was coming. I got it from my wife, so I said, okay, well, this time I'm gonna be prepared. So I was gonna get that medicine that they give you. It's called Paxlovid,
Hmm. I
and
never tried.
it's like
What
an
if you?
antiviral.
Okay.
I will tell you, you take this thing, and it leaves this crazy like aftertaste in
Hmm.
your mouth for the whole time that you're taking it. So it's like a 5-day thing,
Okay.
and it tastes like, I don't even know. They say it's a metallic taste, but to me it tastes like, I don't know, like rubber or balloons or something. It's such a weird taste. But anyways, it worked because while I didn't have like too many, like the cough and I didn't have too much of it actually, because so what I did is I don't know. I don't know how many people know about this, but usually your hospital or your doctor or whatever has an app that you can do. So here in Houston, we've got a medical system called Kelsey-Seybold, and
Yeah, it's
they're super
like a chain of
convenient.
hospitals, right? I've been on those. Yeah.
And so, anyway, it's super convenient. They have their own app, and on the app, you can actually say make an appointment, but you could do a virtual appointment, and they get to you within 30 minutes or something like that. So that's actually what I ended up doing. So if you're in this situation, no, you don't have to go to an urgent care or go to something else. Assuming you got your insurance or whatever, you can just set up a virtual call on your phone, and it'll do like a video call. And you tell them, look, I took a home COVID test. I showed positive. I got a cough, congested, blah, blah, blah. And I just told them, hey, look, I need some COVID medicine. Like, give me whatever you can. And yeah, they gave me this Paxlovid. They actually gave me some cough syrup, some scissor. I got some scissor for my cough, and I actually told them, and I feel a little queasy, so they gave me some anti-nausea medicine. So I stocked up, right? So, but anyways, yeah, all of that. After that, like I really was, I didn't develop a cough this time.
And you also said I have HDHD.
Right? Yeah, Ken, you got anything for that? I don't know.
But it's pretty cool that they're able to. I had a bad luck with telemedicine, so but maybe I'll give it a try because if they're like giving last time they didn't give me squat, they just told me, hey, take Tylenol or ibuprofen and call the day.
Well, tell them what you want, actually, because you're going to be your own advocate, right? You have to be. They're just, they want to help, obviously, but be prepared. Tell them what you want. Tell them everything that you're feeling. That's why I was like, I feel a little gassy. Give me some. I'm like, oh, here's some anti-nausea. I mean, good thing though, also because with the flavor of the pills, I was like,
oh wow, okay.
So it was like it helped a little bit. So, but I know you guys recently were going through some of the COVID stuff too. I mean, did y'all end up having to go in and go to see a doctor and everything?
No, not anymore. We just literally one by one, right? My family, my youngest daughter got it, then my next daughter, then my wife. I think that I dodged a bullet, and knocking in wood right now because in November that's when I got it when I went to Vegas for a conference. That's when I think that I got it. So maybe the antibodies is still on me. So but yeah. Crossing fingers.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, you seem fine, so hopefully you're not getting it. And I think I feel pretty good. I still have a little, but other than that, I feel good to go. Nothing like it was last time, the first time around. I think it's because of that antiviral Paxlovid medicine. It actually did something.
Not bad. Talking about health, I'm looking here on Neuralink. I don't think that we have talked in the pod about this company. It's another Elon Musk company. And it's quite interesting. Have you heard about it a little bit or have you followed any of the Neuralink?
Yeah, I remember it's been in the news like maybe sometime last year that they were experimenting on pigs or something, right? Or monkeys and pigs.
It's moving very fast. Now from monkey to pigs to humans in almost like a couple of years lapse. It's pretty fast.
Elon does move pretty quick.
So their ultimate goal is basically to develop or help kind of very debilitating conditions. So basically, it's interesting because a few weeks back, a friend of mine reached out to me on WhatsApp, and my friend he's a quadriplegic, and for those that don't know what it is basically he had a big accident in a motorcycle. So like almost 7-8 years ago, and he broke his spinal cord, and literally he cannot move very well his limbs, like arms or legs. His brain is totally there; he's totally fine, but yeah, he also doesn't have the strength to be able to literally be sitting down or obviously standing up too. So Neuralink, the reason why he contacted me, number one, is because he knew that I kind of knew some of these people from these companies. But I say, you know what? This is something that they don't do. You have to go through their way. They have a way to be in the queue for trials.
Hmm.
So then I asked my friend, "Hey, register in the trials, and let's see how it goes." But they are actually looking for people that they want to be in the trial for quadriplegics, because what they do, just stepping back a little bit, what they do in the with this Neuralink is they make a hole on your crane and your brain in order to insert the sensor. So right now they're doing it for that, but in some point they wanted to do it to be able to move devices. So maybe, Eric, you can do it to implant the neural link so you can move your Tesla. Would you do it?
Man, here's a good thing about Tesla. Supposedly they'll be able to do it on its own. Maybe if I could control a robot in my house with the Neuralink, that sounds more like fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So so my friend is there. I hope that for his own good, he's very excited because it's one of the first techs that maybe it offers a chance for them to be able to do it. And what basically does is that the sensors are in the brain, and then they can send the signal to the spinal cord. So it almost creates a bridge of information. So when my friend told me that, I started looking into that. I was like, man, this is very cool technology. But now, a few days back, also the same company, they are experimenting for people that they cannot see. They literally their eyes are pretty bad. They can use the device and send signal as well to the brain. So in that way, you can see and literally skipping all of the eye. Obviously, it doesn't have the nerve. It doesn't have all of the organs for the eye. The image is very interesting. I recommend everyone to just take a look. It's like almost like a Daredevil. If you have watched the um the show, the superhero shows, when Marvel and all of that, it's like the guy's blind, but the guy can see through sound. It's kind
Mhm.
of that kind of image where it's like a almost black and white, and it's just grainy, but it allowed you to see around. At least you are not bumping into things.
Yeah.
So
That sounds pretty interesting. I can see like that being super helpful for someone that once could see and maybe now can't, right? Or it's deteriorated. The brain is pretty smart at taking a little bit of information and kind of extrapolating it. So I could see a point, no pun intended, right? You could see that with just a little bit of information that maybe this Neuralink could provide, your brain can take that information, and since it remembers what things used to look like and things like that, it can fill in all the missing information.
mhm.
I think there's a lot of good that can come from a lot of that. So that's pretty exciting. I have seen I think I've seen like their experimental stuff where they actually cut, because they cut into the cranium, right, and they make a little, like a
Make a
small
like they
quarter
make a
sized
hole,
hole,
almost a
right?
quarter, yeah, a quarter size.
And with the little, they actually developed all new technology, right? A lot of this stuff did not exist before, so that's what also is really impressive about this, is that Neuralink, Elon Musk, their whole organization is able to develop this technology that's needed to actually implant these things. Similar to like a circuit or something like that, there's a certain amount of fibers or input outputs that it needs. I think they're probably up to, I don't know, 1,000 of these little
I don't
fibers or
know.
whatever.
Yeah, I don't know, but they are almost like the sensors are the size of a hair, and the operation now because it's in the brain. If they mess it
Hmm.
up, they can make your brain bleed. So they also created a robot to
Hmm.
actually do the surgery, and they literally make the hole and they start incrustating the sensor, and they can see where there is a blood vessel in the brain, so that way it doesn't pop any blood. Very, very interesting. They have to build, and they have a lot of technical challenges there. But yeah, that was also one of them, to be able to have the surgery. The other thing that they did is because when they have the bone of the skull, they make the hole. So then there is some layers that they don't want to remove because it creates a scar tissue. which in some point that's the problem when as your body's healing and is rejecting the device, it creates some scar tissue, and then at some point if you were able to see, guess what, you might not be able to see because it's actually tampering with the sensor. So yeah, they still have some challenges for the long term on these devices.
Yeah. Either way, it's real promising. I think they're definitely headed in the right direction, and it's very amazing to see, right, the progression just going from the pigs, monkeys, humans, fairly quickly. And but here's the thing, a lot of folks like your friend, um, that's a quadriplegic, their quality of life suffers a lot. So having an opportunity for them to try and be a part of these trials, gives them some hope, and they're willing to take a little bit of higher risks just to try and improve the quality that they've got going on right now. So very cool stuff that's coming. Hopefully your buddy is able to become part of this big experiment, really, I guess that Elon and company are doing. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. And shout out to him though. It's like all of the mindset. Maybe we need to talk about him because it's just a mindset to suddenly you're good and you get this tragedy, and it's like he's a warrior, man. It's like 8 years like that, kind of in your own body, right? So tough, very
Yeah.
tough.
Hey, so by the way, like you said, you were in communication with him like that. How does he do that? Like,
Yeah, he's able through the years able to move couple fingers though. So then that's
mm,
literally he gets an iPad and then he uses WhatsApp. So then basically he can. I mean, obviously he takes a while to communicate, but yeah, that's how he communicates. And again, his brain is there, and also very interesting because he sells products online, right? Because
oh, cool.
he cannot do the same work. So, but yeah, he's selling on eBay. So he's trying to make money some different ways. But yeah, tough.
Well, that's pretty cool. I mean, he's making do, with his current situation. And that's pretty interesting how he even has an eBay store. So that's impressive. So for those of y'all that are saying, I don't know what to do, what can I do? I mean, you're your own limitations, so go into it, see what you can do, and you can even start up a store potentially if you're looking to come up with some type of business. Mando's buddy can do it. I think you can take the opportunity to try as well. So um anyways, well, good luck to your buddy. Hopefully he does work out to try and get into those trials. Let's switch gears a little bit, going into the a little bit of crypto news. I think everybody has seen that maybe the price of Bitcoin just in general is starting to rebound a little bit from the lull from the ETFs. We did mention in some of the previous episodes that that we think there's some downward pressure on the price. It's because of GBTC. People are coming out of it. A lot of the miners are selling Bitcoin, things like that. So it seems like that seems to be the case. And now that supply is starting to dry up, and there's an overall net positive buying of Bitcoin into the ETF. So we're slowly seeing the recovery. We're about 43K. However, the government apparently has seemed to take a notice that over the last year, from the previous kind of low from 16,000 now up to 43,000, almost tripling the price, in a year's time. They're like, hey, wait a minute, like this thing is pretty strong. Bitcoin seems like it's headed to the moon. We need to take this a little bit more serious. So the Biden administration has recently declared a crypto emergency. What do
So
you
what does
think
that
about
mean?
this? So, in this crypto emergency, basically they're saying, hey, like I think we've let the miners specifically, so the Bitcoin miners, the people that are doing the mining every day to try and secure the network and win the reward of Bitcoin, they say they're using up too much electricity. And so they are putting together this emergency data survey. Basically, they're going to send out to all the miners to collect as much information they can about their energy use and, what are they doing? What are their aspirations? Just because of this whole this story, because it's really just a narrative that Bitcoin uses too much power. But a lot of people, a lot of experts are saying uh, this crackdown is and that's how they're perceiving it. Is like, oh, okay, the administration is trying to crack down on Bitcoin use just because they see it's getting too strong against the U.S. dollar. Of course, we're seeing that there was a pivot, right, with rates that's coming this year. So they're no longer raising rates; they're currently pausing rates, and at some point they're going to start lowering rates again, which of
Yeah.
course makes the economy explode. When that happens, Bitcoin also explodes. The price of Bitcoin also follows. So they're saying, they're realizing that Bitcoin is a huge force. They need to kind of figure out what's going on from a standpoint for the miners. That's like an easy attack vector, if you will, to try and see if they can slow it down, or at least clamp down on some things to try and figure out how to slow it down, maybe.
Yeah, and the rates are gonna play it. The Fed is scared at the moment. If they don't play it properly, it could happen something that was happening in the 80s, where rates could go up to 10, 15, 20%, right? So, and imagine that if when you're buying a house or a car, right, like the interest rates a year is just that. So they have to quantify properly to keep the rates in some way, and they shouldn't bring it down very quickly. And right now, with the data that they have, is like the numbers look good. Like there is still a lot of good amount of jobs. They are maintaining it. So in my opinion, they have to maintain it for a little bit longer. I don't want it because obviously I want everything to get better, but the problem is inflation. If they do it too fast, they cannot handle the inflation. And in order to handle the inflation, they just increase the interest rates, and they can increase it uh, big amounts. So yeah, and the other catalyst, it could be a recession, a true recession, which is not happening. So I think that maybe the Fed is going to coast it. It's just going to maintain the interest rates as is for maybe another three quarters, and that will kind of stabilize the economy. They will have inflation under control, and then yeah, we'll start seeing maybe even decreasing the interest rates.
Yeah. And for those of you that are like, okay, rates, whatever, I don't really care. I mean, it does impact you. Like the inflation, that going to the grocery store, going to, get a burger, you're paying $20 for a burger now. For I'm like, what a burger. This is just how it plays into normal everyday life. And so, I saw actually a news article that said Houston has been one of the highest impacted cities due to inflation. Like the inflation rate is close to 7% in Houston. So a lot of people really do feel it here. Everyone sees their water bill go up, their electricity bill go up, their insurance bill go up, their food bill go up. Everything has gone up. Everything is just more expensive nowadays. And I think it's just long gone those days of having a lot of those prices. It's just part of the way the economic system was built with the rates and interest and kind of this built-in inflation.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so let's move on to Tesla. So what do we have in Tesla?
Oh man, so just a little bit about Tesla. I think a lot of people are freaking out right now because they see, oh no, there was a recall on Tesla. So of course, the NHTSA and HTSA, whatever, they have certain rules about what is actually called a recall, right? And for Tesla, like it's something that they can fix very easily. So, for example, one of the recalls that Tesla just had was they had a font size that was too small on their screen.
I
What do you
mean,
think about that,
those,
Nando?
but those are not even recalls. They can just make the update remotely for the firmware. So
Yeah.
it's a weird one. How, because in my mind, recalls is that you have to take the car into the shop. You're gonna have to replace whatever it is the part. But yeah, in this one is software, almost like firmware. So yeah, hard to call it a recall.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, and it's just been that's been just kind of this ongoing joke for Tesla. It's like, okay, technically it's a recall just because of the way the administrative body calls it, right? This it's a recall. But for Tesla, it's like, okay, they push the button to do an update and it gets and it gets fixed, right? Like this font size. However, this time around, they're saying that there is actually like a real recall, like what you might think. There's something going on with some of the steering on the Teslas. So they're saying like the steering is going out, like the power steering just like boop, whatever, and you're not able to steer. So one of the examples that they posted as one of the reasons for the recall is there was somebody that was just driving down the street and they're going to make a right turn onto a street. Well, the steering went out and they went straight instead of turning, and so they got into a car accident.
Wow.
So I think they're still doing some investigation on this, but this one sounds real. I think there's been multiple instances of this. So yeah, I mean that's not good news for Tesla, but all car makers have them. But you just don't like to see that whenever someone kind of gets into danger with something like this.
Yeah, you're not selling me to get a Tesla.
I know that I'm very picky about this, and I came from a very good experience with the previous vehicles, right? I had a Porsche and another one was a BMW. Those are very high quality vehicles. Within Tesla, there's just certain things that it does really well, and other things that it just doesn't do as well as those others that I was used to. So
I'm I'm curious to see if the car makers will bring up their game and start hiring like Tesla engineers or ex-Tesla engineers, and they get their shit together. And imagine a Porsche with all of the tech for. I mean, why would we be messing around with like Tesla, right? So
yeah,
I'm waiting for that. I know that we have some electric vehicles for some of them for
hmm
those luxury cars, but it's not the same yet.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you see
getting there
when.
though. Yeah, I would say Porsche. They're one of the ones that really are trying to like
Mhm.
push. They push like the 800-volt architecture that Tesla didn't have before, but now I think the Cybertruck does. So Porsche did that first. It helps with heat generation and stuff like that, and just some of the efficiencies in the car and charging times, things like that. So really good. Porsche, I think, is right there. I think they have their Porsche Taycan, right? That's been around for several years already. That one's really, really good. But I don't think it's really taking hold as much as like you see with Teslas. Of course, price has something to do with it, right? They're 120K or so. But if they are coming out with their next generation now, so that's going to be interesting to see. Their next versions are going to start to come out, and they're expanding their EV footprint. So exactly, very interested to see what others are doing. But you know what's interesting?
Mm,
So Cybertruck has been held to by Elon to have all these cool new technologies. It's going to
sure.
be the best at everything. It's the best. It's the best at everything. That's what Elon is going to say, right?
The best and greatest of all.
Yeah. But one of the new technologies that they actually did introduce, and it's related to the steering, is they have this drive-by wire. So basically, your steering input, your steering wheel, there's no like physical connection to a linkage that's turning
Mhm.
your wheels. It's all electronic, right? It's all just bits going left and
Oh,
right.
okay. Mhm.
So that's a big change, right? First in the auto industry, they've all talked about it, doing it like for the last 30 years, but no one's done it. Elon said, let's just get it done. Let's do it.
Mm.
So that's pretty interesting. They have done it for braking already, I think, like braking by wire. But I think this is the first time they do steering. That I'm sure freaks a lot of people out.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
this is not a physical thing that you're doing here.
yeah.
What do you think about that? How does that make you feel
I mean,
when
to be
driving?
honest, it's not like if you have drive basically a classic car, you can feel almost like turning the wheels, right? With the speed, you can feel almost the asphalt on when you are like,
Mm-hmm.
twisting the car. So, and it got better with the hydraulic systems that you don't need it, right? So this is kind of the the normal transition that I can see, but it's I think that what if it freaks out the public or the mass is that kind of bits, right? Bits versus atoms.
Mhm.
so as long as they are doing it properly and there's not a lot of accidents, because that thing just is like the wire is like tiny, and when it hits, it just like it breaks and suddenly you don't have a steering wheel. Yeah, that's where they have to pay attention to the quality of that. But yeah, as you said, it is also on brakes and things like that. So I think that is just sometimes the hump for people to think about these things.
Yeah, you got to definitely get used to the idea. But for those frequent flyers out there, airplanes, they've been like this forever. So,
Mm.
and you don't ever kind of second guess that. And airplanes are one of the safest modes of transportation out there. So I think this is just a natural progression of the technology, right?
Yep.
So it's pretty interesting to see. But sometimes they make mistakes. We put a lot of trust into these companies, but sometimes they do make mistakes, and that's what you see with this recall that's going out, or that is being investigated right now with the steering going out. So hopefully they get everything worked out and they push an update or something like that, so it doesn't happen. We've still got our Model Y. I think we're almost a full year with it now. We put about 7,000 miles on the car. Not too bad. By the way, I switched insurance. I don't
Nice.
have Tesla insurance anymore. So now when it's going ding dong ding,
I
I'm
don't
cool
care.
as a cucumber. I don't care. I don't care anymore. It's like it makes the driving experience a little bit
Pickle
more.
Rick.
It makes it a little bit easier. So yeah, that's what's going on with the Teslas, and we'll keep you in the loop with what else comes next.
I don't think that you know the resemblance. Have you seen Rick and Morty?
No.
No.
Well, I mean,
Uh,
I know of it, but I haven't
yeah,
seen that. Yeah.
there is one episode that is one of my favorite ones, and basically the grandpa is a genius. Blah blah. You have to watch the whole show,
Mhm.
but he converts himself into a pickle because he doesn't want to literally go to with a psychologist. And then basically the whole show is about him being a pickle. And his name
Okay.
is Rick. So Pickle Rick. It's
I like
amazing.
that. That sounds like another burner playa name.
Oh yeah, for sure. But take a look at that one. There are a couple of those that they are like legendary, and that one is legendary.
Pickle Rick. Okay.
Pickle Rick.
I like it. Yeah, I need to check it out. You always talk about it. I need to catch up on my cartoons. Anyway, so what's next? We haven't talked about Bitcoin yet. What's going on?
So, man, you have this guy. Have you heard this guy? His name is Craig Wright. He claims to be the creator of Bitcoin, which is Satoshi Nakamoto. What do you think? What's your take on that whole
Ain't no way,
fiasco?
man. Ain't no way. That fool is not Satoshi Nakamoto. Satoshi Nakamoto is a conglomerate of like 5 different companies. That's why it's Nakamoto. It's like Nokia, Motorola, isn't it? Right? Isn't that?
There's a lot of different things, right? So, sure, but I'll tell you mine. I think that this is not only mine. This is on multiple people. There's another guy that his name was Hal Finney, and
Mm,
he basically is a computer scientist, and he was one of the first persons that actually he got the first transaction of Bitcoin, and a
mhm.
lot of the things matches. It was a very tragic how it finished because he got ALS. So, but I think that the way that he thought about it, the way that he kind of was in on internet, it gives me a vibes that this is the guy, that
Mhm.
this is truly the guy, and also remember the guy died, and there is no transactions from literally Satoshi disappear, right? So I don't know. I feel that maybe it's one of those that that could be. He will be more on my top list compared to Craig. Craig is a fool.
Yeah, Craig does seem like a fool. But for those that aren't familiar with Satoshi or the legend of Satoshi, right? Satoshi Nakamoto is supposed to be like the uh, inventor or creator of Bitcoin. He's the person that wrote the white paper that explains how it all works,
The
and he
manifesto, bro.
the
Manifesto.
manifesto, the manifesto. and he disappeared. Right,
Mm.
Satoshi, and I say he, she, it, they disappeared. So some people say it's like a NSA psyop type thing, like it's really the government behind it. But I think that's a little far fetched. I think you know it is really just this brilliant systems engineering, like software development genius, just put everything together. Because if you're familiar with cryptography, and I really wasn't before Bitcoin, but uh, all this solution of Bitcoin, of technically how it was built, is really lots of different technologies that have been worked on over the last, the previous 25, 40 years of work, that lots of different crypto punks, lots of different mathematicians, scientists have been working on to solve specific types of problems. And Satoshi Nakamoto, we believe, kind of helped solve kind of one of the last ones, which is, I think it's the double spend, what they call the double spend problem, and then wrapped everything together into one system. Really works really well. So that's the really cool part about the Bitcoin technology. It wasn't like this one thing, or it's not just like this one technology, but it's like a grouping of lots of different technologies that were woven together to make this beautiful piece of life changing, nation changing, society changing technology. And that's what
Philosophy
Bitcoin
changing,
is,
right? Like,
philosophy changing.
and you know what is the interesting thing for those that they are not coders? The core of the code is like almost like 1,500 lines of code, which is very tiny.
Hmm.
It's like literally very, very tiny piece of code. So, but it completely changed. It's one of those things that once the technology comes out, you cannot get it back, right? Like you already see it, you already know how it is, and then you start seeing all of the copies of it. So, yeah, very interesting. It kind of upsets me a little bit because this guy is just trying to, like, you were asking me why this guy is trying to get this claim, right? Why is so
Hmm.
important to him? And maybe he's just an attention whore, man. He's he's like I really don't know why, because it's not like he's gonna get money. It's like it's just literally a label. It's just literally okay, yeah, you're just Satoshi. But I don't think that the community wants him to even have that. It's just interesting how humans we use like no, we don't want even to for this guy to be called Satoshi, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think a lot of people see him as like, oh hell no, they ain't Satoshi. I don't think so, buddy. And they'll write him off. But you know what? A lot of people say it's really easy. If you're really Satoshi, then you can move the Bitcoin, because there's several million Bitcoin that are locked away. That if he was Satoshi, he should be able to move it. Or add, send a Bitcoin out of there or something, and he can't do it, or he hasn't done it. So pretty
That's
easy.
literally it's like it's the proof that you have that you are the owner of the house. Well, do you have the keys? That's kind of the
Yeah.
first obvious thing, right? Show me the keys. Show me that you can get in the house, right?
Hmm.
So and that's is very obvious in crypto, and you have here the saying like not your keys, not your coins, right? So
Yeah.
so basically that's the case here, right? Well, if he cannot make a little transaction, he doesn't have to do move all of it. It's just move one satoshi. By the way, for those that don't know, the a bitcoin can be divided, because a lot of people they think that it's just one bitcoin and that's it. No, bitcoin can be divided in satoshis, and it's point zero, almost 7 zeros, right? Point zero 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 zero
I think it's
one.
10,000, 10,000 or 100 million.
There's a lot of zeros there,
It's a,
but you
it's a
can
lot of, it's a lot of zeros.
they can divide into one satoshi, and that's basically kind of the minimum fraction. And he can move one satoshi into another wallet. But yeah, that's something going around on the news.
Hmm. Yeah, so pretty interesting. I think this battle is going to go on forever, because there's not a really good way to prove it. No one's no one's going to fight him, because it takes money to do that. So it's like, whatever, you waste your own money. Nothing's going to come out of it. Here's the thing. I guess it's a big honeypot. If for some reason the courts say, okay, yeah, you're Satoshi, that's your Bitcoin, and he just said, oh, I just lost my keys, but at some point maybe it gets unlocked, then he lays claim to it. Maybe that's what he's trying to do. That's only like long game that I can see for him.
I mean,
It's
the
like,
long game could be that anybody that is using Satoshi, he can come and sue, right? Like, oh, that's my
uh,
name. So maybe it maybe some, or maybe he can claim also even Bitcoin itself, like the brand.
mhm.
So maybe that's what I would think that he can try to get, like the Bitcoin Foundation or the Bitcoin name, all of that, because he can say, well, if I'm Satoshi, guess what? I created that, right? So, but I
Yeah.
mean, and the guy is a billionaire already, right? I think that um, he because with the amount of Bitcoin that he also has, because he was very early
Mm.
in the whole thing.
Well, it could be. Well, that's one billionaire. I don't really want to talk about too much more, but let's move on to Billionaires Watch. Today we got a story about Samsung. What do you know about Samsung here?
The Samsung, the one in the
Samson
Bible.
with the hair? Or what is that? That's what I thought you were saying when we first talked about it. Samson?
No, man, it's like this is the Korean company, right? Like with the phones and shit, with electronics. There is a whole drama going on with this company. And by the way, this is almost like a family company. Obviously, it's a transnational, a conglomerate. Like if you saw the show in HBO, The Succession,
Mm-hmm.
that's the real shit there, man.
Hey, that
So
sounds like fun. By the way, that show was pretty cool. I don't know if
yeah,
y'all haven't seen it.
was
Got
pretty good.
nominated for lots of awards and stuff. Check it out.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is the real deal. And basically, you have the dad, right? Like obviously, always the patriarchal dad, right?
Mm-hmm.
And on these old companies, and uh, basically, he has a daughter. The daughter, and by the way, in Korea, they have a certain procedures how they do things, and you have to be like an elite of everything, right? Like in almost all of these rich families, they want you to kind of be in that way, like good on piano, good on sports, good on everything, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the daughter was kind of the poster child. Like they really really love the daughter, and they were expecting her to kind of get married to one of the aristocrats in Korea. And guess
Oh,
what?
okay.
Guess to whom she actually fell in love with?
BTS, one of the boy bands.
No, no, no pop singers, no Korean pop or K-pop or whatever. Nope. Uh, her bodyguard.
Oh. Oh,
more
we've seen
more
that story
Hollywood,
more than once.
more Hollywood cannot be, huh? Almost like Whitney Houston, right? Anyways, but this story doesn't end there, man. The guy beats her up. And it's like they got married and all of that, but the guy
Mm.
was actually a bad dude. You know, it's like, man, you has it all, and the dude is just treating it like crap. Like almost like it's one of those things that she's like, she has some bruises. Like, yeah, I fell from the stairs, right?
Yeah, yeah. I tripped, ran into a doorknob.
Yeah. So obviously, they in the past few years they got a divorce, and they're fighting.
Mm.
But you know what? We always talk about Billionaires Watch. And we always are saying, hey, we need to become a billionaires and you have to open this or a companies. There are many ways to become a billionaire. And guess what? There's another way.
Right.
Step number one, marry another billionaire.
Step two, profit.
Step three, divorce, right? So
Yeah.
this dude, he's asking 7 billions for the
Uh,
divorce. And I think that the court is granting it. So
oh
he
well.
will become a billionaire with 7 billions because of this divorce. And we
Yeah.
see multiple billionaires like that, like the Jeff Bezos, the ex-wife. She got like a huge chunk too, like a 30-40 billions too.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's another way for anyone aspiring to be billionaires.
Hmm. And you know what? She's giving it a lot of it away too. I think she's just like, all of this you gave me, I'm just gonna throw it out the window. Right? Who needs some
It's
money?
like have you seen the movie The Joker? It wasn't The Joker, it was Dark Knight.
Uh,
The Joker is like burning a mountain of
oh, that's right. That's right. The writers are
yes,
outside. Yeah.
yes, yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, it's just a whole deal there with the whole Samsung empire.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty interesting. So obviously you mentioned it's a family, right? So there's some other people involved. So this this lady, her name is Li Bujin, right? Okay, so
Yeah.
this is the Lee family. Lee Bujin, she's the one that had this whole kind of nasty divorce and was getting beat and
Have you
ended
been
up.
practicing your Korean?
Yeah, when I'm watching BTS and practicing my dance moves, I learn I pick some up like that.
For sure. Gangnam Style and all of that.
Gangnam Style, man, you're going way back for that one, man. I
This is
remember
about the
that.
only
That was
thing that
pretty
I know
good,
about
right?
that, man.
Yeah, but obviously, Lee Bujin has some siblings and things like that. So, you know, there's always kind of this. I can just imagine, like, just like that, the show Succession that you mentioned. There's a lot of positioning that these kids are trying to do for inheritance or control of the company and things like that. So, but I think eventually one of the youngest sons, Lee Jae-yong. They're the ones he's the one that ended up inheriting the chairmanship in 2018. But there's been a lot of drama, like just in general, with the way the business, like people going to jail and things like that. Because like this guy, he was actually convicted of bribery, embezzlement. But obviously, they've got money, so there's a reduced sentence. For that and things like that. But and also, they're big characters in Korea, so
Yeah,
a
and
lot of power.
I don't believe when you see the show Succession, in my mind is like these guys are billionaires. Why they don't build something themselves, right? Why they have to keep leeching the empire from your parents, right?
Mm-hmm.
I did not understood, and you see it in real life. Obviously, the show Succession is pretty good because it's very real, right? It's like a very
Mm-hmm.
close like to reality. Um, and I don't understand that, right? Like these guys are already worth. It's just they literally won a crown, like in back in those days, right? That they won the crown, but here you could build an empire, right? Like you're in a freaking America, right? I obviously in Korea, I have no idea how it's over there, but at least over here we see it as well. So, what's your take there on why the kids they wanted to get the crown, right? To be the chairman, to be the CEO, to be of the family company.
Yeah, that's true. I think part of it is some people I think are just natural creators. Some people just want to build for themselves. Like, yeah, they don't need the thing that's already existing. They want to go build their own thing, right? So I can kind of see that, and maybe there's a little bit of psychology that plays a role into that because they want to prove themselves or prove to others. Different people have different um, motivations for that, but I think maybe that's part of it. They've got all this money in the world. They don't have to work, but you still have to do something with your life. So maybe that's just an outlet for them.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's what it is. Collectively, they have uh, they're a big empire, right? So I think that some people believe that it's about 50 billions, the whole family.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. Just the way the holdings, the Samsung holdings, once you start, evaluating what everything is worth, all the subsidiaries, all the hidden money, all of the assets, I'm sure it adds up to 50 billion. It doesn't take that long, and when you have that much money, it grows pretty quickly as well. So, you know,
Yeah, imagine 20% going up 1 year.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like, oh yeah, I just added another few billion, this year, no big deal.
No, no, not a big deal. That's right.
It's the law of big numbers. You get
Yes,
bigger
yes.
ones. Well, I think that's all we had for today. So we really appreciate the time, everybody. I hope y'all enjoyed the conversations that we had. Just remember to like, subscribe, comment. We enjoy the comments and getting back with you and getting ideas for what to talk about next. Anything else, Mando?
No, I really like your t-shirt, man. Coke is one of my favorite brands. If you notice, if you're on YouTube, I have it there. I uh, I love Coke. So
We need to get a sponsorship from Coca Cola. Let's
yes,
figure out how
I
to do that.
in one of my companies, actually, I did have a sponsorship with Coke. So yeah,
Pretty cool. Yeah, we could do that. Let's figure it out.
All right.
All right. Well,
Dale.
anyways, y'all have a good one. We'll see y'all next time. Dale.
Peace.